Am I? All right. Hi, everyone. I couldn't tell if I was being recorded, but I see now that I am. I am happy to be here with you all. Hope you're doing well, taking really good care of yourselves. Really quick, before I jumped into responding to some really, really wonderful questions today, I want to remind you, you've got to join Venus. And the way to do that is you go to welcometovenus.com and download the app. That way you are connected, and it's free right now, and it's just free for a limited time. So I want to hear from you, submit your questions, and you need the app to do that. So, yep, welcome to Venus.com. All right, let's do this. I want to jump right in so I can answer as many as possible. So we've got a question here from Tina and Sophia. We are a couple who have been together for over 14 years, which kudos to you. That's a good amount of time, and it takes work, right? You would probably agree it takes work. The relationship doesn't just work on its own on an autopilot. For the first few years that we were dating, we were both a little wild with fantasies that would involve bringing in someone else or challenging each other to flirt at parties, which always ended up in us being jealous as shit and fighting like mad. Ugh, I could see that happening. And if there was ever a couple who could win an award for the most frequent breakup sex, it was us, smiley face. It was wild and hot at the time, but also got old and exhausting. Over time together, we work hard to find a kind of peace and calm that we don't want to lose. But now we're afraid we have lost the spark. How do couples explore sexual curiosity again without slipping back into repeating the need to create chaos as a turn on? So this is a really great question, because I think that chaos can feel really exciting and invigorating with all that adrenaline and all the endorphins, but it also is incredibly dysregulating and creates a sense of like insecurity, lack of safety and all of that. So now that you have found calm in your relationship and peace, you absolutely want to maintain that. And you can at the same time, they're not mutually exclusive. You can maintain that while also exploring how to bring in ways to bring sexy back, basically. So it could be through fantasy that only involves the two of you. It could be around watching some porn. It could be around bringing in, some toys that you haven't explored. It could be about blindfolding or using a paddle, there's so many different tools. You might want to visit a sex shop and explore, see if there's anything there that is interesting or exciting to either of you, and have a conversation about it. I've also talked previously about yes, no, maybe lists, which is exploring like what's a hell yeah, yes that I'd be into when I think about sex and intimacy with you, what's a hell no, and what's a maybe. Maybe we should explore this, and see how the conversation goes and how your nervous system, both of you, how it's reacting and responding to what you're sharing with each other. First of all, sharing it is really intimate. You trust each other. You have experience. You've been together 14 years and you've actually lived on the edge as a couple and pushed the limits, and you know what actually triggers you and causes you to feel really jealous and escalated, fighting and making you really mad. You know where you don't want to go. So that's helpful too. It's like you've been there, done that. So start the conversation together. You both submitted the question, so you're obviously wanting to figure out how to bring spark and excitement back into the relationship. And it doesn't mean you have to go full bore, full on into something that resembles what you did in the past. I think, in fact, that would be contraindicated. So whatever it is, it requires communication, trust, respect, and just moving slowly, trying things gradually so that you can allow your system to acclimate and also course correct. Maybe something you had a fantasy about trying, or something your partner had a fantasy about trying, you initially thought, maybe I could do that. Maybe let's try. And then it actually didn't land well for you. And it maybe was triggering or causing you to feel uncomfortable feelings and so on. So this is the kind of thing where you just want to keep the dialogue open. And that just takes trust, patience, communication, and time. So don't rush into anything. Thanks, you guys, for submitting that. Pia writes in, so I'm a serial monogamist, like so many people, right? People don't like to be alone, so they will jump from one relationship to the next. And I swear this is not what I want, but it seems every time I am in a relationship with another woman, 1 or 2 years in, just when I could not feel more safe and secure emotionally, I start to feel like this woman is my sister or something. Like my desire goes out the window. I'm trying to understand why feeling secure sometimes makes desire disappear for me. And is this something I can work on? Because I actually hate this about myself. So, Pia, what happens, right? The relationship has phases and it moves into a phase over a certain number of years of safety, security, trust, which translates to, for our systems, like boring, predictability, like just like the excitement feels like it's gone because it's so predictable and calm. There's no chaos, there's no uncertainty. You're not getting all those chemicals flooding your brain like you did earlier on when you were in limerence. This is actually the healthiest place for you to be. So now you want to think about, okay, how do I infuse some excitement into my relationship? And that's not through having an affair. That's because sometimes people will do that. They'll try to, find adrenaline and endorphins and excitement by doing things that could actually harm the relationship. You've spent now 2 years with this person, it sounds like, and you have a pattern of behavior that you need to look at. Once it gets to this calm place, which also is dependency, right? You're in a good way, attachment dependent. Like you are now in this relationship where you're pretty attached to this person. So what that does, it might bring up some fears about being attached to somebody. So now you're just like, discounting that by going, this is like a family member. It's like she's like a sister to me. And now I don't desire her sexually. So I want to encourage you to maybe get into therapy for a few sessions and explore that. You want to break this pattern of behavior because there is a way in which you are withdrawing and you're sabotaging yourself ultimately because you just keep redoing the same thing again. So get in there, start looking at it, and your therapist is going to help you understand how your cognitions are causing you to actually see. It's perception. It affects your perception. So it's causing you to see your partner as a sister. And while at the same time figuring out very gradual steps to kind of bring in some excitement and fun back into your life together so it doesn't feel like you're sisters. Thanks, Pia. Janice writes in, Dr. Frankie, I've been with the same woman for 15 years, and for the most part, we have built a wonderful life together. Kudos to you too, Janice. 15 years? Good job. Takes work. We have a child and bought a house together and have created the kind of family life I had always dreamed of. I don't want to give too many details, but for the past 2 years, I have just known I'm not happy with us. Not us as a couple. Somewhere in there, I fell out of love with my wife, even though I do care for her so much as a person, of course, and there are still some moments of fun. So I have stayed for our family, for our child, which some days seems right, but others feels like I'm just avoiding grief if I leave. Hers, my child, and yes, mine. Am I? Any thoughts or advice are welcome. So first of all, like my first thought is that we get caught up in monotony and routine. And it sounds like you've got a child, you have a home, it's very stable, it's predictable. And it can, like, the excitement and the fun when you're living the day to day and adulting and doing life, it can get boring. So it is on us to figure out how to stay in connection and how to keep it interesting and exciting. That's like an active effort that we have to be intentional about every day, every week, as best as we can, to infuse it into our relationship. It sounds like there's a lot of good here and you've invested a lot. So what I would say to you is that if you're not happy, what's really important is to figure out the why. What is causing you to feel unhappy? And explore whether you have exhausted every possibility to actually reinvigorate the relationship and get in connection So you're not ending something that actually could be really like could have another 15 years of legs in it. And then again, I want to honor the fact that you're feeling like you're not happy and you want to get out. But I wouldn't want you to prematurely do that. So if you're not happy, ultimately, you've explored with a therapist all the possibilities and you still land at, I'm not happy and I'm just staying in this because I'm avoiding grief. It may be best that you not stay in it, but you've got to first pull out all the laundry, right? Do all the unloading, do all the peeling back the layers to make sure that it is the right decision, because you have all invested a lot and you've got a little one, you've got a child now. I don't know how old the child is, but divorce is hard on a family. But then again, life goes fast. Even though it's long, it's fast. So I want to make sure that you get the most out of your life and you're not settling in something that just isn't working anymore. So hopefully that's helpful, Janice. Thank you for your question. I know that a lot of people are relating to your experience. MB writes in, I was out with my best friend recently and I was telling about a pattern I seem to have in different relationships. I get anxious and sometimes feel a little shut down suddenly, even if just 5 minutes before I was feeling hot for who I was with. She said she was reading about how being a minority, I'm Black and gay, can have some effect on our nervous systems that then affects sex and intimacy. I didn't fully understand and was wondering if you could tell me more about this. Yeah, I think that a lot of us deal with anxiety, and it's hard because there's not a lot of detail here, but I think that when you're with somebody, you're a minority, and I don't know if this is coming up with other folks who are maybe not a minority and you're feeling like maybe they are judging you or they could be discriminating or somehow mistreating you, or that's a fear that maybe that could come up. You maybe are protecting yourself by kind of, you're saying just 5 minutes before you were feeling happy and then, you feel disinterested, shut down. So something's happening there where your mind is reading something and telling you, like, we have all sorts of cognitions that come in, which are thoughts that can often be distorted because we're wired to protect ourselves. So it may be that you have some thoughts around you being a minority, both Black and gay, that causes you to feel fear of being rejected, maybe judged, criticized, marginalized, because we are, and so on. So you want to get really a better understanding of like, what are your thoughts that are coming up for you? What's happening in that 5-minute period where you go from being interested, you're feeling hot, and then you get shut down and cold, and it sounds like anxious and dissociated. There's something that shifts in a very small period of time. You got to look at those thoughts, find out what those thoughts mean and how that is shifting your perspective on the person, the situation, the outcome. You kind of have to dismantle it, take it apart in order to understand what's getting in the way, because something here is getting in the way of you staying in connection and having really like a good, who knows what could come of that relationship. So go find a therapist who knows about cognitive behavioral therapy, narrative therapy, and do some exploring. I think you're going to uncover some really helpful beliefs that are blocking you from connecting with people. And this life is all about connection, quality connections, and we got to do the work to sort of break down the walls that have been created sometimes for us through trauma, childhood, insecure attachment in childhood, to our caregivers who meant well. They were just doing the best job that they could. And sometimes we come out of it like me, having, sometimes struggling with attachment, having an avoidant attachment style. So we all have work to do. And if you want to have deeper, more meaningful relationships and you see something like this, a pattern that's coming up, you've got to dig all the way in there and figure out how to course correct. because you deserve connection and you deserve to feel calm and respected and invited and included and all those things. And you don't want to feel like there's a wall there. So thank you so much, MB, for writing in. And I'm going to see all of you next week. So grateful for every single one of you. I love you. Take good care of yourselves and keep doing the hard work. Keep doing it. Keep talking, keep asking, and I'll see you all then. Kisses, hugs. Bye, everyone.